Chelsea here from So Simple Home with another great project for the weekend. Today we are making a nightgown. This is the Eclipse nightgown. This is the doll version. There is a child-size version. And if you head over to the blog, you can see photos of that. It comes in sizes, I believe it's 12 months to 12 years. It's a freebie. Like I said, this is the doll size. This is actually the size for a 14-inch doll, like the American Girl dolls or dolls like that. This is a Welly Wisher doll. So she's a little bit shorter and a little bit skinnier than the American Girl dolls. So you'll see the neckline's a little bit different on her. My daughter loves her Welly Wishers, but she's always she'll get the clothes for the American Girls dolls and she's always like, they're not the right size. So if you have a 14-inch doll, this pattern will work for you. And like I said, you can make a matching set of these Eclipse pajama or these Eclipse nightgown for your daughter, granddaughter, niece, whoever. Okay, first thing you'll need is the pattern. This is the doll size pattern. Like I said, it is available on the blog. Go down to the link in the description. It'll take you where you need to go. You can get the full size pattern in the same link. They will come together. You'll get the doll size and the child size. And I believe it's 12 months to 12 years. So you'll need the pattern, then you'll need knit fabric. This pattern is for stretch knits. You have to have stretch fabric. You cannot use a woven cotton fabric. It just will not work for this. So I have this fun fall print that I made my daughter a shirt with several years ago, and then I just have some brown for the sleeves because I kind of like to shake things up a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and just split the two pieces here. We have the nightgown piece and then we have the sleeve, and I know they're kind of hard to see on the camera. There'll be a lot. I'll change the width of the line when you download it, so you'll be able to see it a little bit better. So I'm going to straighten this line up, and like I said, the way you sew the doll size is the way you're going to sew the child size. So we're just doing the doll size to, one, save on fabric, and two, so you can see everything in one screen a lot easier. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just pinning the pattern to my fabric on the fold. So I have two layers of my fabric on the fold, and I'm going to cut out both of them as if they were the bodice back or the nightgown back, and then we'll trim it down to be so the neckline's correct for the front as well. Oh my goodness, we're going this way. Everything's catching on my scissors today. I usually cut out on the floor when I cut out clothing, and it helps kind of keep things in place a little bit. So there is the bodice, front and back. And I think I'm going to use this one as the front. So what I'm going to do is fold it back in half. And then there's a second neckline cut here, and that's for the front. So if I have this folded in half and I replace this on the front, then I can cut out my front neckline as well. So here's my front and here's my back. And typically I like to mark my back. You can use a marker or a pencil or whatever. I just put 2 pins. That's how I know it's the back. So that's my bodice. Now I'm going to do my sleeves. And I just have 2 small pieces of knit here. We're just going to line them up on the fold. cut out our sleeve a little better here. Place our sleeve on the fold of our knit fabric here, and then cut out our 2 sleeves. So that's pretty much all you need for this pattern. The only other thing you're going to need is the neckline, and on the full-size pattern the neckline is listed in the cutting chart. For the doll pattern it will be listed on the pattern pieces here, but it's a pretty small neckline, just a little piece here that will stitch on here in just a second. All right, so I have my nightgown front and back, my 2 sleeve pieces, and my knit neckline. Right, let's sew. Now, if you're doing the full size, you'll have more fabric to work with. But since we're just doing the doll size, it's very, very small. The sewing is the same. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to line up my front and back right sides together at the shoulder seams. I'm going to stitch one shoulder, just one of them together. So I'm not going to stitch this one, I'm going to stitch this one. I've set my machine to a zigzag stitch, and I'm just zigzagging across that shoulder seam. Okay, now if you don't want to use a zigzag stitch, you can get a double needle. You can use a double needle. That makes it have a really nice finish. Or if you have a serger, you can use your serger. Doesn't really matter. All of those things will work. I have sewn zigzag stitches for years and years and years, and they work great. All right, so I sewn the one shoulder seam. Then I'm going to open it up, and this is where I'm going to put my neckline in. So your neckline piece is going to be a lot bigger than this one, but you're going to fold it in half so that the wrong sides are together. And you're going to start at the edge of the shoulder, not on the shoulder, at the edge of the shoulder where the shoulder and the neckline meet, and you're going to stitch your neckline all the way around to the opposite side, folded in half. And as you stitch, you're going to stretch that neckline just a tiny bit. You don't need to stretch it too much, but you do need to stretch as you go. And what that's going to do is it's going to help pull the neck in, so it has a little bit of give, and it just makes the fit around the head and neck just a slight bit snug, which is what you want. You don't want a t-shirt neckline that's saggy. I'm sure you've seen them. You know, when kids stretch out their necklines and things like that. It doesn't look great. Okay, then you're going to press it. And you're going to press it so that the stitches are on the inside. Now again, this neckline is super tiny because we're doing a super tiny doll neckline. But this is basically what it's going to look like on a full-size nightgown. All right, now get these threads out of the way. Now we're going to match those opposite shoulder seams. We're going to make sure that the neckline is folded up, and then we're going to sew across those shoulder sleeves and that neckline. All the way across. Cut those threads. Now when we open it, you can see, go like this. You can see the two shoulder seams and the neckline. And again, it stretches, so it's going to fit over the doll's head because it stretches. It's going to fit over the kid's head because it stretches. All right, we're opening it back up. We know this is the back. this actually matters when you're sewing for your kid. For a doll, it doesn't matter quite as much. But we're labeling the back because eventually I like to put a label actually on the back, or a tag, so that my kids know how to dress. All right, so I have found the middle. I guess I should tell you what I'm doing. I have the middle of my sleeve. I'm finding the middle of my armscye, where my armhole is. That's right at the shoulder seam. I'm pinning the middle of my sleeve to the middle of the shoulder, and then I'm going to match the end of my sleeve to the end of the armhole. And I'm going to stitch from one side of the armhole to the other side. So you can kind of see, I stretch it a little bit, not a lot. So the sleeve will fit from one side to the other. See how I did that? So here's my sleeve, sewn on, and now it's out. See that? So we're going to do the same thing on the other sleeve. Finding the middle, pin it in the middle. That just helps us know where to start and where a little bit of that stretch might need to go. Put it in our machine. Line everything up. And stretch a bit as you go. Like I said, you shouldn't be stretching a lot. If you're stretching a lot, it's not big enough. A little bit of stretch is all it needs. Okay. There's my two sleeves. This is my front. My pins are telling me this is my back. Sleeves are in, neckline's in. Now we're going to sew our side seams. So we put our front and our back together. We match the ends of our sleeve. One here. We match in our armpit. And then we match down to our hem. Okay, we're going to stitch from here to here to here. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Our hem, in our armpit, and down at the bottom for our hem. Okay, so we're just going to start right here, stitch across, turn, go down. So I just put in my machine, I stitch to the armpit. I can stop here and turn and then go down, and that will give it a much crisper corner. Trim my little threads here. So there's the one side. Now we're going to do the other side. Trim my threads a little. Make them long again. All right, here we go. To the armpit. Turn. Stitch down. Now the great thing about knits is that they are very forgiving, so if for some reason your stitching is off, it just bounces right back. That's one of the great things about sewing with knits. All right, now we're going to do our hems. So we're going to hem our sleeve. On the full-size nightgown pattern, usually the hem is about 1/4 of an inch to 3/4 of an inch. On this one, we're just going to do about 1/4 of an inch. We're going to try, because it can be a little tricky with it so small. But you can see I'm just folding it 1/4 of an inch. I will usually press, at least especially on my big, when I'm doing full-size projects, full-size nightgowns, because it just helps things stay in place a little bit better. And then for your hem at the bottom, for the full-size nightgown, I believe the hem is 1 inch. For this little one, we're just doing about 1/2 inch. I don't even know if it's quite that. But again, I'm just pressing. That just helps everything kind of stay in place a little bit better. And then I don't have to pin it. So we'll do the hem on the skirt. We're just going to put it in for the zigzag. You can take off, if you have a cover on your arm, you can take that off and then you can kind of go around as you sew in a circle. Gives you a little bit more freedom of movement. And then I just watch for where my hem, where I pressed my hem. So if it comes unfolded, I can kind of see where the pressing line is. And that helps me keep my hem even. That works for tiny ones like this. That works for big ones. For my 10-year-old. All right, so there's the hem on the nightgown. Now we're going to do the sleeves. The sleeves on your pattern are going to be a little bit easier than the doll sleeves. We're just going to put it in the machine and try and stay as even as possible around where we pressed our sleeve. Another option, if you are used to sewing and sewn a lot of clothes, you can always put a cuff, create a cuff for the sleeve instead of hemming it. Sometimes I really like cuffs. I like the look of them, but for this particular pattern, it's the cuff is unnecessary. All right, we're gonna do the opposite one. All right, let's turn this cute little thing right side up. Okay, how cute is that? Just a nice little comfy nightgown. We're just pressing things. Now, I would not suggest that you use white stitching on dark material like this. Mostly I did that so that you can see it a little bit better. But let's go ahead and dress our girl here. Let's see how she feels about her new nightgown. All right. And there we have it. How cute is that nightgown? She looks great. Front and back. She's nice and comfy. This is about the fit that your daughter will have as well. It's about calf length, long sleeve, nice and comfy because it's knit fabric. Please let me know if you have comments or questions. Make sure you check out the link in the description so that you can get the pattern and get it downloaded and sew it. That link also brings you to our photo tutorial. So if it's a little bit easier than following a video, everybody has different preferences. But I hope that you'll go check out the Eclipse nightgown. It's just a fun way to add a little sparkle to a little one's wardrobe. I hope you have a great day, and we'll see you next time.